So, good morning, good afternoon, good day, good night, whatever time of the day you're looking at this podcast, and welcome to the Pulp. It's been a while in the making,
Yeah, been a while.
and some of you may be listening to this, some of you may be viewing us online, but we're here. My name is Kearn Williams, and I'm joined by.
Cassell George.
We're here with this podcast series, video series as well, The Pulp, where we want to bring our experiences in the cultural and creative industries and share that.
Yeah.
But more so, the orange economy, which
Oh,
I'll
yes.
explain in a little bit, hence the name of The Pulp, because maybe hearing The Pulp and exactly what is this?
What is it? Yeah.
You know, is this a series about making juice? You know, we're going to sell juice on the side of the road in this COVID time. I mean, that might be a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's essentially about the orange economy, hence the name The Pulp.
The Pulp.
And the orange economy is a nice, maybe professional, creative definition
Exactly, creative definition. That's it.
for the creative and cultural industries. So
Yeah.
it refers to everything within the sector.
Mhm.
And that could also sound like a big thing for some people. I remember the first time I heard creative and cultural industries, I was like, wow, what is
What
that?
is that? Yeah.
Only just to realize that it's honestly the entertainment sector.
Yeah.
So it covers, the arts.
A
Some
wide
people,
range.
that's a older definition.
Yeah, the arts.
The arts.
Yeah.
So it covers music, fashion, film,
Craft.
television, heritage.
And that's just the primary aspect of it. The secondary aspect of it, you have the sound engineers, the event
Exactly.
planners,
All these people.
promoters, all of them fall into the creative and cultural industry to an extent.
The main question some may be asking is, why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this?
As I said, two random guys
Yeah.
who
Why?
decided to talk about this.
What's the purpose? What is the
I
intention?
think even as young adults, we're still young,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
That we just wanna bring our perspective. I think our learned, and when I say learned on the job,
Uh-huh.
learned as well in the traditional book sense.
Yeah.
That's actually how we met through the
University
of the West Indies.
Of the West Indies.
Look up yourself, Mona, right? Where we would have learned these things, what we studied,
Yeah.
that touched on the creative and cultural industries.
Well, I guess right now it's time for you to actually go and give a description of what you do.
I usually just always say I work in carnival, right? I usually always tell people
It's
that.
the easiest thing to
The
say.
easiest thing to say.
Yeah.
Then some are like, well, what exactly do you do? So, okay, what do? I work in carnival, yes. So, my 9 to 5, as I say, my day job, I work as a carnival researcher at Big Up the Carnival Institute of Trinidad and Tobago, which most people do not know about. So there is that side of the doing research and everything with carnival related, like we touch on traditional mass, modern day, any information you need, books, etc. So we have this resource in Trinidad and Tobago. And we're going to get into this in this episode.
A lot of people don't know
Yeah.
about it. A lot of people don't know about it.
So that's what I do with research. A lot of the research and the work is also very media related. My background is in media. I've worked in broadcast, television and radio before.
Mm-hmm.
So we do like films and video features and interviews, archiving stuff.
Yeah.
But then I've been fortunate enough to have worked over the last couple of years with a couple different carnival entities. I like to call them micro-organizations, some of them.
Which they are.
I do work with a carnival concierge service where we plan trips for people to various carnivals across the region in the diaspora. So that keeps me busy. And I've worked a bit with some other entities, the Business of Carnival, Carnival Manager, just varying tasks from the production side as well as Carnival Inventory. I've worked with a mass band out in Jamaica as well in their first year. So I think I've a well enough rounded experience in both broadcast, carnival on the road, carnival customers, and carnival research.
Of just dealing with carnival.
Just dealing with carnival. Carnival is the best thing. I work in carnival. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I mean that's amazing.
So what do you do, Cassell? That's
wow.
For those who don't know.
Well, as you put it, my 9 to 5, I am a distribution analyst with the Copyright Music Organization of Trinidad and Tobago. That's CUT. So basically, I worked in intellectual property. I distribute basically the royalties to our members, and that's my 9 to 5. That it's a lot. I got there by internship again through the University of the West Indies Mona campus, and from since then in 2014 I've been working there. And other than that, I guess that is where the the amount of things I do, that's where it kind of comes in, because after that 9 to 5, I am a band manager, a parent band, that is. I've been a band manager for the past 5 years, 6 years, I believe. Um, I was also a public relations officer for the National Parang Association. And besides that, I'm now trying to get myself into becoming an artist. I performed background vocals with Swappy, with GBM Neutron. I mean, when it comes to performing, the performing side of things, I've been there. I've done.
Yeah, you've done it.
I've done it.
You've
I've
done
done it.
it.
I'm not just in the soca and parang, but I mean, accompaniment with guitar. I also play guitar as well. So I have a really wide knowledge as it pertains to music in Trinidad and Tobago.
So I think they've heard enough about us.
Yep,
So
definitely.
let's just definitely get into what we're here about today. In episode 1, we're going to be dealing with what is the current state of the CCI, or the orange economy in Trinidad and Tobago. And in this segment, we're going to get into this orange economy in the squeeze.
I think we would definitely need to give them a definition of what the CCI is, or what we would say cultural and creative industries is. And based on what Kearn says,
Big up Keatness. If you have studied culture, carnival, entertainment in the Caribbean, you kind of should know this man.
So Kearn said that the cultural and creative sector refers to aesthetic, identity, and copyrightable goods, services, and intellectual property. It embodies a wide array of activities that make and circulate songs, words, and images, or a combination of the above. And I mean, you could go on and expand on that definition, but in itself, it just explains it, especially when it comes to goods and services. And, that's what the creative and the cultural industry has to offer. And most of these goods and services, I mean, not necessarily the services, but the goods that we offer, it comes from our historical culture, if you understand what I mean. So from the dance to the man and how we sing to how, it comes from back then. So it's something that was given to us. And so there's a wide abundance of culture. And based on that,
to Calypsonia and to soca artists,
exactly,
like just those things,
just those things there. And spoken word is now becoming a big thing right now,
for sure,
especially within the Caribbean. So it's all of these different platforms or subgroups, as we see sometimes, contribute to the cultural and creative industry.
So the thing is, Trinidad and Tobago, I think, in if you retrospect to reflect on it, we do have a number of structures in place for the creative and cultural industries. The orange economy already existing. Sometimes I think we might be aware of it, or we're not entirely sure. Or sometimes I would say some people, I don't necessarily don't know how to access it, or just need to be reminded of these things exist, formal and both informal. So on one hand, we do have a number of state organizations, which I think is a really good thing that we have, that sort of like government support for CCI, from NCC to Creative TT. That deals with fashion, film, and music. There's National Trust, which a lot of people, I don't think, is aware of. That National Trust deals with heritage matters and preservation of buildings. So a lot of the restoration work that took place with like the Magnificent Seven and these things, that they were involved in some form. So we have some of these things already within the country which exist. Also just thinking things which have been around from God knows how long, which have been formalized now. So you're talking about Best Village.
Best Village.
Right? You're talking things like Best Village, which has been in existence, I think, trying to shape Trinidad and Tobago in this new independent country. Like, how do we celebrate ourselves? How do we form our national identity? And it's through the orange economy, through the CCI. So we always had like this sort of state involvement in promoting culture. And I mean, we could, at some point I should talk about it, where the state had to now recognize, okay, how can we, I guess, pump money into this? Because obviously you had Carnival, which was just this expression that you had these the freed slaves taking part in. So they had I don't want to get into too much of history, but where they would have gotten involved to sanitize Carnival for certain people's consumption, right? Or what then wasn't appealing. But in offering things like prize money and making it attractive.
Yeah.
And that is what this ecosystem or this economy does.
Yeah.
Making culture attractive and getting investment opportunities and getting people to come in and a motive as to why should I perform. Like, yes, we do it for love, but we also know people
want to earn something.
Want to earn something.
Yeah.
Because I think, and again, why some of these structures are in place or things can be better is because we have also seen over the years of that the informality of the sector so much that people not getting the pay they deserve, people being taken advantage of with your labor and your talents, or sometimes we have, what gets me, we love culture, we love entertainment, and guys, it's COVID time, right? And more than anything now, we have been trying to sap up anything entertainment related because we're not getting it in the usual format. We love creativity, we love culture. It's what's keeping us sane a lot of times. But now when it comes to really putting value for persons and the money, etc., is always a problem. And we faster pay money for anything, a car, whatever, but from the time a creative calls a price for their work, to sing, to dance, to do audio, to do videography, we always a bit resistant.
There's always some scrutiny.
Yeah, there's some scrutiny. So why are you paying so much? Why so much when you paying for this?
I can give you an example because Christmas season I have a parent band, and when you quote a price for, let's say, our performance, they watch me or I hear the tone of voice just change, like all of that for parent. Like, it's as if parent doesn't deserve any large sum of money, if you understand what I mean. I mean, their perception of parent is three men, no teeth, climbing by a band singing, but that's not what parent is. No, if you understand what I mean. Parent has developed, as well as the other genres or any other cultural activity within Trinidad and Tobago. Parent is on the rise in terms of its quality. But yet still you have people devaluing or undervaluing what parent bands have to offer. And it's not just panaderos. It's from the craftsmen at the side of the road. Somebody go watch that and be like, but I could go and make that same thing and come and sell it.
I'm sure you can't make it.
You understand what I mean? So, in essence, what we shouldn't do is devalue and undervalue someone's creative.
And I think that's one of the challenges, if to call it that, in the structure in Trinidad and Tobago, where we have a rich culture and we do celebrate it, but now you have just that challenge, which a lot of creatives generally over the world face, of that value. Or perhaps we may have this challenge a little bit greater compared to some developed countries. I hate to use that word, especially in this COVID time, where we are seeing a different side of things. But where, again, how people view that. And while, again, we have these structures in place, and the thing is, like, we spoke about education a little bit earlier, our own educational backgrounds. Like, we have structures in place here to educate people, and you still see how people view a degree in carnival studies. Like, I have seen comments online, or you hear people, if you're seeing like you're doing a master's in carnival studies, people watch you like,
what are you gonna do with that?
What are you gonna do with
exactly?
Well, I think we are living proof of what you can do with it. Like, exactly. Guys, we have jobs. We have jobs, right? We have 9 to 5s. We have other things we are doing
on the side.
So it's not impossible to come into this and earn.
But then again, that's where the cultural and creative industries come in, because we create entrepreneurs. Like, you may not have a 9 to 5. You may not be working for the biggest company or paying you a big salary, but it makes you think that, okay, no one wants to help me, so I need to do this on my own. So you have, let's say, like a mass band, somebody decides they want to make mass. They will go and get their
sponsors,
but it's an entrepreneurial attempt, if you understand what I mean. That's where it comes. Even a producer, when someone decides they want to become a producer, they buy their equipment, they invest in whatever they need to invest in, and they become their own business, if you understand what I mean. An event planner is the same thing. So the creative and cultural industries, I guess it is a boost now for entrepreneurial business. So
what I'm actually thinking too, what is a key to anybody listening to this, if you are a practitioner, if you're just interested in this, you like entertainment, and you're in Trinidad and Tobago, you're by extension within the Caribbean or countries that bodies have deemed as developing,
Yeah.
right? I think the most important thing about understanding the orange economy
Yeah.
is to really see it as we are saying, see it as an industry.
Industry.
And with an industry, what that means, what it comes with, with the formal structures,
Yeah.
the investments to be made in it, to see it as, we talk about oil and gas a lot so much in this country, oil and gas industry and the oil and gas industry. But really, when we're saying orange economy and saying CCI, cultural and creative industries, so I guess give it that same level of respect, of formalizing this as a viable business structure and entity, because we will see it over and over again. And depending on when this podcast is, the budget might be in preparation.
Yeah.
Trinidad and Tobago's budget, a new government would have been formed, and we hear all the time over and over diversifying the economy. We hear this over and over, and attempts have been made. I would say again, with what we have in place and some of the state bodies, but you still sometimes even see, I think, from a government standpoint, where it's like we're still not ready to let go of
oil and gas.
And I'm not saying that we should ever entirely let it go, because it will probably always be our mainstay, but really allow this sector and even others with tourism and food, etc., which are so all interconnected, given a greater opportunity to grow and to shine. And again, when your child shows interest in, I want to study this, I want to go UTT and do dance or animation or gaming, or I want to go Jamaica and study, I want to go Barbados and do culture or whatever, even just to change that psyche. Like, I had an argument, this could be about a year ago, at a brethren of mine who said to me, he's like, yo, if my child tell me they want to go and study music, and it's like, I'm not funding them to go to school.
Wow.
It's like, that's a hobby, right? But you're the same person who, again, when artists drop in big album and big thing or anything, you're
running to support.
You're running to support. So where you feel support come from? Where you feel the study? And I did arguing, trying to justify, even to show that a couple of soca artists and stuff that we have in Trinidad who have studied theatre arts and music on that level. I was like, it's not like they're not putting it to use.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to change that whole psyche of
that mentality.
That still exists.
And I'm actually glad you mentioned something, because the CCI works in tandem with tourism, and you mentioned another sector, I can't remember.
Food, and
hospitality. But if we were to put that on a piece of paper and write out which one comes first, or which one could we actually bank on to bring in the more money, or the whatever we want to say, you would put the creative industries up there. Because yes, people could want to travel to Trinidad and Tobago for food, or just to see the S's, the sun and sea, whatever the case may be. But then what would make them stay here?
Yeah.
If there's a best village performance, Carnival, let me even talk about Carnival. What about our Christmas festival?
Yeah.
Like, these are the pull factors. And then when you come for those pull factors, then you have the other sectors there, the food. And okay, they go an event tonight, but tomorrow morning they would go to the beach. And on the beach they get the bacon shower, if you understand what I mean. So if we give that industry our attention and our full support, I think it would benefit the country holistically, and would even put us higher on that pedestal of countries within the Caribbean who promoting the CCI.
It's so necessary now. You have made a career in this, and I'm working in cultural research, of how necessary it is of seeing jobs even in the sector of not just performers. There's so much jobs. There's so much jobs. Even when people want to get into the definition of who's a creative, some people think it's only like the actual artist or artist.
Yeah.
But again, you're thinking about the whole backbone structure. You need managers. Sometimes you need accountants. You need a legal team that understands the sector specifically. You need your researchers.
Yeah, definitely.
Who are able to now influence. Yeah. And I think this is where we should get into a bit of the business practices or business standards, or what we need, and me working in cultural research, I definitely think this is like top of the list.
Yeah.
Where I think it's safe to see even like academics and people who have these wonderfully titled papers. I don't know if anybody listening to this, if you've ever looked at an academic paper on culture or carnival. It's very creative, eh? You might they'll pull a line from a soca, you know? I'm trying to think of something quickly on the spot. Oh, God, give me a martial song now.
Wow.
Okay, I'm thinking about what, I want a roly-poly. Not for Marshall, but you might see a paper like that. I want a roly-poly. Then it further goes into examining sexual representation of females in soca. All these nice topics. But beyond the I think it's the J-Store publishing site, beyond the nice conference, these papers are going nowhere. Nowhere. It's just for nice academics to read and nice researchers to read. And I think that's what, at least personally for me, I kind of want to try to bridge a gap between getting people who are workers and practitioners and the movers and shakers in the industry to see some of these things and to be interested that you have people who can assist you in knowing, and especially in these socially conscious times we live in, hashtag Black Lives Matter, of where as an artist or performer or a producer, you also need to understand these things into the content you put out, because we have a cancel culture out there now.
Of course.
Where you need to now be very mindful of what you put out there, because you could immediately be axed and that's the end of your career.
Exactly.
Because nobody wants to hear from you because you made this one line in the song, which is now... Anyways, So... I think that's one thing is needed with that bridge between people doing the research and not just research on social things, but statistics and analytics of money being made. Because if you want investment opportunities, you need to present some stats to businesses.
Well, exactly. So let's link that now to standard practices. And we would ask ourselves, what is standard practices within the creative and cultural industry? And, that's like the big question.
Mm-hmm.
So when we start to go in, let me see if I can give an example. Let's talk about soca music. Let's talk about a performer. Does that performer know when he gets hired that he's supposed to send a rider? And on that rider, he would have exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
I highly doubt most performers would know that. Now, even if they know that, if I'm a new person coming into the soca industry or the soca fraternity and I got hired for a particular performance, even though my fee might be small, at the end of the day, I still have a rider with these different things that I need.
Yeah.
Now, would a promoter hire me and give me those things or not? So it's as if now these cultural researchers would then educate promoters and say, well, here what? This is the standard practice.
Mm-hmm.
If we are hiring this particular person, and if this is what his rider is, whether or not he's charging us a big fee, this is what we have to provide him. And I remember there was this particular artist who became the president of Caribbean Prestige Foundation and held Soca Monarch that particular year. And I remember after the competition, it was one of the first times the participants were saying that it was the best they were treated. And I was there because I actually performed with one of the artists there, both in semi-finals and then finals. And I'm telling you, the artists were treated as if they were stars. Now, I can't say if it happened this year, but I'm telling you, because that person as an artist
brought their lived experience of what was lacking. Yeah.
And again, it goes back to creating a standard. What is standard practice? And it goes for any other sector within the creative and cultural industry. Like, let's talk about someone who's selling craft. I would always say that, are they supposed to work with their own table when someone invites them to come on? Are they supposed to work with their own electrician to put up a light bulb?
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So
things like that.
Yeah, things like that. I just think that with the cultural researchers, I think they would definitely benefit the industry in that particular way.
I feel as one of the ways forward, which has been lacking, which you really need, is yes, we have these groups which exist to represent people in certain spaces. So you have like Tuco, you have Pantry Bagel, you have TTCBA, etc. But for practitioners, I think sometimes it is lacking. So we do actually have an artist registry from the Ministry of Culture, which is good just to have like a database. But I feel like so much more could be done in terms like do I say an official union or just like a guild or a body to really have that. If I'm not mistaken, in this election year, one of the political parties, I think that was actually on their manifesto.
Yeah.
One of their visions is to, in terms of maybe standardizing that or having a board or a council, like an arts board or council
Yeah.
of some sort. And I think, again, you need the researchers to kind of work alongside these things, where you have consulting people with lived experience, like that said artists,
Yeah.
to be able to say, like, yo, this is the book,
Exactly.
or this is the guideline,
This
or
is
that we
guidelines.
need
Yeah.
to really step up the standard within the country. Evidently, Trinidad and Tobago, we have the intellectual capacity
Yeah.
to do it. It's not to really now make it be a lived experience.
Yeah, make it happen. Yeah, understand. And I mean, I'm sorry to go back, but I was also thinking about the dancer. Like when you hire a dancer and you want them to come to rehearsal, but you're carrying them in a place where they have to dance barefooted on the cold bloody concrete. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Even things. I'm thinking about that, and even sometimes something that a newer artist or something may not be aware of, or a promoter not take advantage of, is paying people for rehearsal. Time.
Oh my gosh.
You taking people's time to rehearse. You have to pay them for the performance that's going on the day, but you need to pay based on how much times you need them to rehearse and times and factoring where they're coming from, like, dog.
But here this again, and this is my experience recently. I had to perform with another artist who was doing a live, and lo and behold, we did it one time, and I guess certain things did not sound the way they wanted it to sound. We got paid for that one time, and then they called us back in to come and do it the second time, and this time with the proper equipment so that everything will be recorded properly. And I was surprised, and I should tell you how I don't expect much from persons really valuing the CCI.
Mm-hmm.
That I was surprised when they told me, all right, you can expect payment so and so. So I was surprised
for the second
time,
yeah.
because we did it the first time, it wasn't
Yeah.
well, we got paid regardless, and then the second time I was called in to do it again. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And
well, that's good though.
Obviously,
Yeah.
it's good.
So it shows that we have.
It's there.
We do have the ethics
It's
and
there.
morals, but
Yeah,
it also doesn't exist, unfortunately.
Exactly.
And I think whatever structures we put in place, not to say that we're going to make our culture court, right?
Yeah.
But perhaps whether it be an arts council or whatever you have in place, that maybe there should be, our listeners could comment and see maybe we should have repercussions.
Yeah.
For
or even state their experience, like
yeah.
what are
when
their
we
experiences?
fail to provide X, Y, and Z, and I say it doesn't have to be like a financial thing, or let's just say I don't know, we have an arts license or something. I'm just thinking, you just
which is interesting.
Arts license. You get suspended. You have and trust and believe there are people within the industry who people know have bad reputations for particular things.
Yeah.
That okay, strike one, strike two, strike three.
So like
you
pay
artist one, you pay artist two, you pay artist three. You demerit points.
Demerit points.
Cut your license, suspend. You can't show no event because it's like you have to get permission to throw events and these type of things. So suspension for you, no fed for you because you don't pay people.
Don't come to
I think I'm making a valid point right now.
No, you are.
Maybe this is something
but
we
look
should
at this,
think
because
about.
again I work at Cut, and you have so many promoters who just avoiding paying that Cut license, and they don't understand the value of it and how it develops, or it just basically builds on a cycle of the creative and cultural industry that they refuse to pay a Cut license, but that same money that they pay is for the artists, the songwriters, the producers, and they don't understand that. And that's a big problem, because again, the only way these people would be able to put out the music that you want to have in your fit is if they get paid.
Yeah.
You understand? And because they had to pay a photographer, they have to pay a content creator, they have to pay some of them might have to pay to get a song on radio, but that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to pay that Cut license fee, then how are they going to benefit from it? You understand what I mean?
And in all of this, the creative economy,
yeah.
We're constantly hearing that, not that this is a podcast about money,
yeah.
but when you're dealing with industry, innovation, and economics, that will always be a big factor underlying the expenditure. As Fed Up say so far, the investment and value in people.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be good to all our listeners out there. This has been episode 1 of the Pulp. If you are a practitioner, if you are a consumer, you can let us know in your comments and just feedback, anything like that, your experience, whether you think that we should be going at this, or you think we should really get a little license on a culture club for it.
Add to the conversation.
Add to the conversation,
we can
I
build
doubt
on
it's only
discussion.
me thinking about this. If you have a bad story, a sad story, like, don't mind sharing it. Let people know. I ain't saying one name, but let people know exactly what is happening. Or even if you had a good experience, like what you spoke about didn't expect the second pay. Let people know that this is the reality that we have. The good, and unfortunately, we have the bad. So this is the end of our premiere episode of The Pulp. You can follow us on socials. You can follow me on Instagram at Kearn Chris. That's Kearn Chris. At Kearn_Chris on Twitter. And you can follow my website where I blog and I share some of my experiences and analyze these things at www.kearnchristopher.com.
And you can find me or follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook at Hekaya Music. Hekaya.
You spell Hekaya though?
Oh yes, it's a really hard name to spell. Hekaya. Hekaya. It's pronounced Hekaya, guys. Hekaya.
So this has been The Pulp.
Giving the juice on culture.
The road to success is very long, and you're bound to fall down. Tell the obstacles to move along, so your path is clear. No, never forget how far you've come from, and all the things that